Welcome back. So in this video, we're going to change the properties for our beam to make it look more like the arch that I had over here. So we're going from this kind of beam ribbon to this more of a beam arch. Okay, and it's really easy to change this around. So just starting with what we built last time. First of all, let me, I guess it doesn't matter, but let me change this back to a block. Okay. And then I'm also going to lower this down. So let me go ahead and move this piece to where it's on the ground as well. Whoops. And let me turn collisions back on. And let me turn, let's see, let me turn my snap to grid back on. Okay. And let me put this, there we go. Okay. So what you want to do first is we want to, let's slow this down. So let me go back to the beam source. Where is it? Beam source left. And let's look at the beam properties. So the first thing is let's get rid of this texture because we're going to replace this texture. So I'm going to just clear it. So backspace, enter. Okay. This just makes it a little easier to see what we're doing. The other thing we want to do is we want to turn off that, let's see, where is it? Where's the... I was looking for that property about facing the camera. Oh yeah, turn off the face camera property because we want this to not do that anymore. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn these, we're going to turn our anchor points. And we haven't done that yet, but let me show you how easy it is. So you can see these anchor points here. And if I click on it, I can actually move these, right? Because right now I have the move button selected. So I can move these around if I wanted to. But what I want to do is rotate them. So I'm going to go ahead and click the rotate button. And let me move my camera a little bit. Yeah. And I'm going to just use this red ring, and I'm going to rotate it to where it's horizontal. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. So I'm going to rotate this one also so that it is horizontal. Basically, this thing is flat now, and that's what we want. We want it to be flat, okay? So what I want to do is I want to change the curvature, and let me see, let's see if I can do that. So on the beam, I want to go down here to the curvatures, and let me see, what is it? I think I actually might want to rotate them. Oh, you know what I forgot? You have to rotate them in two directions. So I rotated it flat, but I actually need to rotate it up too. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and I want to do the same thing for the other one. So the other one, I also want to use the blue ring to rotate it so that it's up. Perfect. Okay, and actually I almost have an arch already. Except it's too thin. I want to make it wider. And how do I do that? Well, I go back to the beam properties and I change the widths. So let's make this, I don't know, 10. See how wide that is. That's pretty good. And make this one 10. That is pretty good. Now, the only thing is, I think this is too, what do you call it? I think it needs to be taller. So let's go back to the curve size and let's try a 10 and a negative 10. Yeah, that looks better. Let's do a negative 10 here. Might be too tall. Let's try a 7 and a negative 7. And you just have to kind of play around with these. There's actually a formula you can use to get a perfect circle, but I forget what it is. But that looks pretty good. And honestly, I don't really care if it's perfect. I just want it to look good. So this is actually, you know, a completely different effect. And you notice how, okay, here's the other thing. Notice how it's not going all the way to the ground. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, see, it's off the ground a little bit. Right? How do you change that? Well, we move our anchor points. Remember, I was telling you that we can move these. If I go to the move button, I can actually move this down. And there it goes. Now it goes all the way to the floor. Let me move this one. There it goes. Okay. And I think I have my, I have my move at 0.5. If you have yours at 1, it would probably go beneath the floor. So just change that to 0.5 if you need to. Okay, so now my arch goes all the way to the ground. And it looks good. Honestly, it looks pretty good just like that. But I want to kind of get that kind of moving effect that I have in my demo. So how do we do that? Well, we do the same thing we did before. We attach a texture or an image. Okay, so let me go to the beam. And let me choose a let me choose a nice image. So if I go to images, let me think. I think I did like, I mean, you can choose anything, right? But I think I did like rainbow stars or something. Let me see what I used. And honestly, there's yeah, I probably just used something like this. So let me go ahead and copy this one. Let me do copy asset ID, and then I'm going to go over to the texture and I'm going to paste it. And let's see what this looks like. And that's it. That's actually exactly what I did. And I'm kind of done. Okay, so super easy to make a different effect. And you could play with the settings again. Looks like it's going a little fast. So you could, change the texture length to make it go slower. And you get a completely different effect. You can go the other way. Go back. Go really fast. Okay, and so again, you can play with these settings and get all kinds of different effects, just depending on what you want. So I'm doing light emission 1, so this thing glows. If you turn that down, it's not going to glow as much. Different effect, right? So just play with these. Honestly, there's so many different combinations of these that you can use, and they will all produce something that looks a little different. Oh, one thing I forgot. We don't really want these. We don't really want these to show up, so I'm going to go ahead and make those invisible, and I'm going to turn off the can collide property for these. And this one as well. I'm going to turn off the can collide property and make them invisible. And our effect is done. So we can go ahead and test it. Hit play and walk through it. Oh, and I think they fell. Did I forget to anchor these? Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to anchor these, I bet. Let's see. Beam source. Yeah, I totally forgot to anchor these. Oh, this one was anchored. The other one wasn't. Oh yeah, because last time we were kicking it around. So let's go ahead and try this again. And hopefully this will look better. There it goes. And let's see if it's tall enough. Oh, I made it too small. That's okay though. You could easily make this bigger just by changing the curve sizes. But that's good. It's a good effect. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. And that's it. So we've made 2 different effects here. And let me just show you really quickly how you would make this bigger. You would just go down here and make this a 10 and a negative 10. And then that would be tall enough. Then I could go ahead and push play. And here we go. Now I have an arch. And it's a little crooked. I could make it wider if I wanted to, but good enough. I have an arch effect. This is all I really wanted. Okay. So great. So we've made a couple of different things using the beam effect. We made a ribbon and then we made this arch. And it wasn't too bad. Okay. And so we're going to use these same kind of techniques when we manipulate the trails. And we'll do that in the next one.